Всем привет! I'm glad to see you on my channel again, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the house that we bought and just some ideas that we have for the house, why we bought it, how it happened, why this house and this place. We've been looking for the house like that since spring, since we moved here to Georgia. I've been monitoring all the websites about real estate. We really wanted to buy something for ourselves because the rent here is very expensive nowadays because of all the Russians moving to this country. Unfortunately, the rent prices like almost tripled. Some people even ask for the fourth bigger amount than they would ask a year ago. And the cost of properties are rising as well, slowly, but not as fast as rent prices. So it makes more sense to buy the property than to rent it. Much more sense. And I think it's the case for many developing countries. Like in Georgia, the situation is very specific because of all the immigrants moving, but in general, like in many developing countries, buying property makes more sense than just renting quite often. But properties in the city are very expensive still for us. They're not expensive like in general, but for us at the moment we don't have money to buy them. And even like a small apartment, like anything, we can't buy anything in the city because we don't have enough cash, and we can't get a mortgage as foreign citizens. And when it comes to installment for new properties, I mean, it's a good option, but it's still more expensive than we can afford. Because like if we will rent something and pay installment, even if we find the biggest one for like 2 years or 2.5 years, it's very expensive for us to rent something and pay for something that is still building. We just can't afford it at the moment. Like no way. And because of that, we looked for different options. We checked like everything we can do. And we decided that the best way for us would be buying an old, shabby, like almost abandoned house, like the cheapest option we can get. Not just the cheapest, but the cheapest for the location, for the nice location, and for the more or less fine condition, so it can be, repaired. Because some houses are obviously sold for just destroying them; they can't be repaired. So yeah, I've been looking since spring, and I really became quite good at finding like cheap properties. I got really well when it comes to understanding where the property is located and stuff like that. So this house, when we saw it, we were like, okay, so for the price it was for $10,000. For the price it has, for the location it has, it was the best option I saw since spring. And we were like, okay, well, calling the owner right away. We are just trying to buy this house. Of course, it looks bad. Of course, it's like it needs a lot of renovations, but we've talked with these people in the village, and they said that there are a lot of people who can do literally anything you need for the house, because people are building houses themselves there and repairing houses themselves, so they all can do something. And that's very nice to hear, because getting people that can help us with fixing from the city is very expensive, just because of the transportation, because you need to provide housing for them, food for them. It would be very expensive. So we got very excited that there are people in the village itself. And we have 2 months of our rent in our place where we live paid off till the end of March. And I don't really know if we'll be able to fix this house till the end of March. So it would be totally showing me that it will be okay. But I'm not sure that we'll be able to fix this house till the end of March, so it would be livable. But anyway, we'll try our best. So if we'll be able to fix it, we'll move in, and we are thinking about like cleaning it all, getting rid of all the like livable things there, like insects or spiders or birds or just all of that. Getting rid of all of them, cleaning all of that, just taking off all the wallpapers, getting rid of the bad furniture, like just cleaning it all, and doing the simplest renovations that are required, like fixing the roof, floors, electricity, water, and stuff like that. Cleaning the area a little bit, so we will be able to move in, and we will not have to pay a rent, because like literally the rent is so expensive. It makes much more sense for us to renovate something like that, spend a little bit more money on renovation, but it will be our property that we can actually like sell later or rent to somebody later. I don't think somebody will rent a house in this village, but there are different options. So at least this will be our money, even if we spend them on renovation. Like we will renovate the gates and the fence, but it will be like adding to the cost of the house. So we will not just waste them right now we're wasting for the rent. And yes, we'll move in at least for the summer, spring, autumn season. I think it would be nice. The area here is very beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, like this desert style. And the village itself is like, it looks bad. Honestly, there are like cows poop everywhere, just a lot of abandoned buildings. But in general, I think it would be so nice. The air is fresh, the milk is fresh, eggs are fresh, like so many good food that people produce here is absolutely like fresh farmer stuff. It's cheaper than in the city. And just to be in our own place, in our own house, it feels absolutely incredible. It's our first property ever, and I'm so excited that it's so cheap. And for the renovations we want to do, like it all seems absolutely possible. I'm really looking forward to the simplest, giant car with a lot of ground just passed by.
Ну, мы стоим в поле.
I'm looking for doing a very simple, like poor Mediterranean village kind of style. I have a huge board on Pinterest with all the ideas I have. I want it to be very simple. My husband plans to do many of the furniture pieces himself, just from wood, and to make it like really, really simple. I want to just paint the walls. No wallpapers, nothing. Just paint the walls, do hardwood floors, simple floors, just to make everything livable, but very, very simple and as affordable as we can get it. So I think it will be absolutely nice looking house at the end. Kind of weird looking, probably not just the typical style that everybody is doing here, but I think it will work out for us. At least I really like that style. So yeah, and if you are wondering why the house is so big, we were looking for smaller houses, like something that we have now. We have now like 2-bedroom house with a big living room and kitchen area. We were looking for something like that, but in Georgia there is an interesting thing. Only like modern houses are built like that, more like new houses, because it's like modern style nowadays, and because of that they are more expensive. So smaller houses are more expensive because they're usually new, or at least pretend to be stylish. And most of the houses are very big because it's common for Georgians to, like several families, to live in the house, like children, grandchildren, other relatives. They're usually all living, not usually, but very often living in one house. So the houses are big, and really we've been looking for houses. All the houses are giant and old and giant, and it takes a lot of money and effort to renovate them. But smaller houses are more modern and more expensive. So we were like, okay, we'll just buy, like, we don't care about the layout of the house and the size of it, but we'll just buy the house in general that would be made of like blocks or stones that can be renovated. with a nice location and with a nice amount of land around. So it's 1,000 square meters, the land, so it's a nice amount of land. Not very big, but just nice spot. So the only thing I'm upset about is that the big house requires more materials and efforts for renovation. But I don't know, maybe we'll do some of the rooms for our relatives. We have a lot of friends coming to our place, always, like, there are almost always people living with us no matter where we live. So I think we'll have a nice amount of like guest space. That would be nice. Yeah. And in general, I don't know if we will live here for a very long time after we renovate it, but we'll see if we like it. If not, we can always like sell it or do something with it, and it would be already some amount of money for another like property to buy, maybe closer to the city, maybe in the nicer condition, but it will be like our space. This was the purpose of the house. I'm very excited to do something with our own space, our own land, to do the design I want to do, and just to keep the money for ourselves, not spend them on renting. It will take a lot of time and efforts to renovate it, but I think everything is possible, and I think it will be a nice place to live or to sell. I will do some updates on the house. Probably Toля would be the one who will be working most of the time there, because we have 2 little children. It makes no sense for me to spend any time there. I'll be just, distracting him from work with all the children. So probably Toля will be the one who will be working on the house, and I'll stay with kids at home. And maybe we'll be just updating you from time to time in vlogs if we'll be visiting the house all together during Tola's renovations. And I also plan to make a big like before and after video at the end. I think that would be very nice, maybe like a time-lapse video. The main things that we'll be working on now are the main things like electricity, water system, heating system. People around there have big like metal stoves where they burn wood and it heats the house. Maybe we'll do something similar. We'll be working on the roof, the gates, floors, and to get rid of the mold and all the like insects and stuff. And yeah, we're slowly working on that already. Tola's big quality is communicating with people, so he already got acquainted with a ton of people who can help us with this, or who can just do this work. And he already found a lot of information how to do some of this stuff himself. The labor cost here in Georgia is very low. Probably it's not good, but it's good for our budget. So it's possible to do all these renovations on the like affordable level. Also, the materials cost not that much, so it's also possible to get them, especially in the village, it's possible to get them cheaper. So yeah, I don't know how much the renovation will cost, but at least it's like a slow process. We can pay little by little for different things. But what I like the most about this place is the nature around. It's absolutely incredible. We've seen the fox, and there are so many like sheep and cows and pigs and just wild nature around, like birds. And there are all of these incredible views. I want all of my friends to visit this house when we finish it, because the views here are absolutely like breathtaking, actually. So I'm really excited about having friends visiting us. These are ideas for the house. These are our plans. I'm very excited that we finally were able to save some money and buy something that we wanted. And yeah, it's like a big project, a new adventure, buying the house in the foreign country, like abandoned one, and renovating it. But I think everything is possible, and we'll be able to fix it. So yeah, thank you guys a lot for watching. Thank you for being interested, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.